Hey Guitar Rig fans, here's some tips on using the loop machine function within Guitar Rig. First things first, I'm using the Rig Kontrol pedal board that Native Instruments sells. This makes it a lot easier to use the loop machine, and it functions like a traditional looper pedal that you may see music artists using on stage in their live sets. Now the loop machine allows you to build up a song playing different parts in the guitar. You can even use Guitar Rig sound patches to get different sounds for each part that you're playing. And this works when you're practicing at home, whether you're actually doing a live set, or if you want to record into Guitar Rig and export the sound into a DAW where you can further edit it or add more instruments and complete the song. So when you open up Guitar Rig, you should have a preset loaded already. And whether you realize it or not, there's two sections. There's the preset, which consists of a pre-effects, the processing for the signal chain, the post-effects, which is usually the tape deck. And then there's a separate section, which is the master effects. And that's where we put the loop machine, so that when we change sound patches, the master effects remains the same. So let's go find the loop machine component. It's going to be under the components section, and we find that and we drop it into our master effects slot. And if you see, it looks like we can put it in different spots. Where we want it to go is way down here in the master effects chain, because what happens if you're going to switch between sounds, the master effects chain will stay as it is. Another thing I like to use is the stereo split, because as we're building up a track, it's nice to have one part on the left, one part on the right, other parts maybe in the middle. We want to use that stereo space as best we can. So we're going to use this splitter with the expression pedal on the Rig Kontrol, and if we pan this one right and this one left, and we map the expression pedal to this slider, then it'll help us do that. So if I click, you click on this button up here, it allows you to see the pedals and allows you to map what you want. So let's just clear these from what I'd already set up. So if we map the expression pedal to this guy, and now if I start using the pedal, we can see it's going left and right. And we can also get right there in the center. For the looping machine, we also want to map some of these pedals, because I'm obviously not going to be clicking the mouse while I'm playing the guitar. So we can map the first button to play record. And this can be the second button we're going to map to stop. And if you want, you can also map the third button to undo. And you can even map this button to redo, but I've never used it. It doesn't seem to make a lot of sense when you're actually playing. So there we go. Okay, so now let's find some sounds we want to build up. Obviously, if we go into styles, for example, we can see the alternative. We got a ton of sounds in here. If we click on one, it'll open up. And again, if I go back to the pedal, I'm using next, 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 go back. And that's how the pedal board functions with Guitar Rig. Obviously, in a song, I'm not going to use 30 different sounds and be able to jump between them real easily. So what can we do for that? We can make our own little bank here. If we click in one of these blank squares, I can double click, create a new bank, and it's empty. Okay, so now let's fill it up with something. There's a couple sounds I wanted to use. This is going to be kind of a bass sound. Let's see what else we got. There's another one I wanted to use. And that one right there. So now I go in here, clear the search, go to new song, and there it is. So if I click on one, it'll open up. And now if I go to the pedals, next, next, I can scroll through those. Cool, so now I can have 3 different parts for a song and start to record into the looper pedal. So why don't we see what that looks like now. I'm going to close out the pedal board so I can kind of see what's going on, and I'll show you how the pedal board works with the looper machine. Okay, so now that I got that set up, I can kind of use Guitar Rig hands-free to do all the looping functions that I want to do. I find it's usually easier to start playing so you can find your rhythm and pace and then hit record. So we'll start. Okay, so now we got one track. Now I'm going to switch. Maybe we'll do their bass next. And I can switch this to the right channel, maybe a little bit in the center. There we got our bass line now. So let's try put in kind of our melody here. Let's put our stereo in the middle. This will be kind of our lead. So again, we'll practice once. But one thing we notice already is that we're kind of maxing out our volume up there. It's distorting a little bit. We can fix that in the looper. We can back the volume off and stop the clipping and the digital distortion that we're hearing. And obviously you can just play over the top of this. You can play a solo. You can do whatever you wanted. So you can do that, you can do whatever you want, you can keep building up other tracks too if you wanted. And obviously if you wanted to play this as kind of part of a song live, you can also use the stop function to maybe get to a chorus or a different part, and then you can kind of come back to your verse. So we can try that one. Okay, so the last trick I'll show you is if you go over here to open and save, we can do something with this file. We can export it as layers. We can export just the mix, stereo mix, or we can save it, which will save it as a looping machine file, which we could then open up later back in with the looping machine inside Guitar Rig. So if we do export layers, we'll just look at that real quick. We can do desktop. Okay, so here are our files here in this song folder. And let's see if we can just add them to Reaper. 1, 2, 3, and Reaper is creating a little waveform file for them. But here we can see these are the tracks we produced, and just for sake in Reaper we can go in here and emulate the looping to kind of see what it sounds like. You can do that down there, hit loop, and then hit play. So this is what we've been playing like in the looping machine. It's obviously going to be looping. And we can see our first track, our rhythm on the left, our bass is over here on the right, and kind of our lead is down here. Both tracks we can back off. So now we can do whatever we want with these parts. We can edit them individually, we can add more instruments. The sky's the limit here.